Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this live or as a replay. My name is Minister Dagny Barton, and I'm here today on behalf of New Life in Christ Church to let you know that our scholarship packets are out. The 2025-2026 scholarship packets are out, and they're at the various high schools here in the Metro East. And so we want to say, don't leave this money on the table. And we're doing our annual candidate scholarship candidate training. So for all the parents and the grandparents and the aunties and the nieces who have high school seniors this year, we want in this Metro East area right here where we are at New Life, we want you to get on this live because we have some great information to share. This information that I'm going to talk about is going to apply across the board. If you're filling out scholarship applications right now and getting interviews and things of that nature, you need this information that I'm going to give you, not just for our scholarships, but also for any other scholarships that you are getting. And so just jump right on, jump right in. Let us know that you're streaming. Let us know that you're on, and we're going to get started right now. Okay. All right. So, first of all, tomorrow, New Life parents, we have Parent Solutions 2025, and you're going to get this packet with the scholarship applications on tomorrow. So, if you're a New Life parent, if you're a Life Changer parent, or grandparent, we will see you on tomorrow. But this is for any and everyone who has seniors this year and who are applying for scholarships right now. So let's get started. First of all, let's look at some scholarship dues. Let's look at some things you need to do as a scholarship applicant. You want to get friendly with your own neighborhood. You want to know what scholarships are available to you right there where you live. Sometimes there are community scholarships available, local service organizations, city governments, and even some politicians in your area, representatives offer scholarships for students. Find out about these kind of awards and contact your local chamber of commerce and or reading your community newspaper or newsletter. So that's always a good place to start. And then, of course, New Life has our scholarships, and you already know about that. They are not only located in the high school guidance offices, but you can also get a copy on our website at thisismynewlife.com. So that's a due. Another scholarship due is to choose quality over quantity. In other words, don't just go out and apply for a bunch of scholarships that don't match the type of student that you are or that you want to be in college. You want to make sure that you apply for scholarships that match your occupation goals, or that the scholarship criteria that they have matches who you are and the things that you were interested in. For example, instead of trying to apply for as many as you can, apply for the scholarships that best fit you. And the only way that you know if they fit you or not is if you have read through them, and that you have really discerned which ones fit you. Those are the ones that you'll be able to tell your story with and have more chance of receiving. Okay. Another scholarship due is understand the purpose of the scholarship. Every scholarship has a reason it exists. And so you want to make sure that the scholarship that has been designed to encourage students to enter a specific career field, or rewarding students based on their community, or help to serve underserved students for higher education. So whatever the bent for a particular scholarship, make sure that you understand the purpose for that scholarship. That's going to help you with your essay and all those things. Some other dues are follow the directions. From your first game of Simon Says, you learned how to follow directions. And it's super important that you do that. And I'm going to go, following directions is one of the biggest things that hinder or that can make you cut across the field, right? If you read the entire packet and you do everything that they ask, you submit all the things that they want, you are um, already ahead of the game. Because guess what? If you were missing an official transcript, or if you were missing some particular letter or something that you needed with the application, and then you turned it in on the day of the deadline, well, now it's incomplete. It's not even going to go beyond that packet, right? Because it didn't have all of the contents. So when you've turned it in a little earlier, maybe the people on the other end will say, hey, this packet is incomplete. We need your this, that, or the other, and then you can get it to them. But if you just read the instructions from the beginning, you will not have to go through that. So that is a big do. The next one is write an essay that demonstrates why you should win. If you think of the scholarship application as your first handshake when you meet a person, then the scholarship essay is like your first conversation. Tell your story. Tell your personal story that talks about why you should be the winner of that scholarship. That goes a long way. Next, get feedback from editors. You can't write a strong scholarship essay in a vacuum, and editors are the best people to help. That could be your English teacher, that could be any adult person, a parent. Let someone proofread your essay. Okay. The next scholarship do is what I just said. Proofread and read it again. No matter how strong of an applicant you are, it would be difficult for a scholarship judge to overlook spelling or grammatical errors. So you want to make sure that your final essay is polished to and ready to go for that application. Next, practice for your interviews. Sit down with someone and do a mock interview. Ask your parents to allow you to, ask you some questions to see how good you are with your responses and things of that nature. If it's an in-person interview, then make sure that you're ready to go to that person in person. And if it's on Zoom or what have you, make sure that you are ready to answer those questions. So practice, practice, practice for the interview. Okay. You can always tell someone who was prepared to talk to the scholarship committee and others who were not, that they just kind of ran up in there thinking that they could wing it. Don't do that. Okay. Another scholarship due is to ask your parents for help. Ask your parents or relatives for help. They can help you find scholarships. They can keep track of deadlines and give you feedback on your application and your essays. Seek out help. There are adults, maybe your parent or grandparent have scholarships available where they work. They won't know to tell you that if you don't ask the question. So ask, ask, ask. Another is be ready to brag a little about yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. So you'll need to let your best self shine through in your scholarship applications. You want to be your A game coming to that interview and coming across that paper on that essay. Okay. So we've gone over some do's. Let's look at some things you don't want to do. Don't overlook your college financial aid officer or guidance counselor. Cozy up to these two people and get the scoop on any awards from your college or high school and for local students. So you should know who your guidance counselors are. And if parents, you guys should know who your senior advisors are and things of that nature at the local high schools. Go to the office, sit down. What scholarships are available that my child can apply for? Insist that they get intimate with those offices so that they have that information firsthand. The kids that kind of come up to the office every now and then and just check in, they're the ones that when a scholarship comes across a counselor's desk, they say, oh, well, let me call so-and-so. They were just up here asking about that. And they're getting them all the time. When we get our scholarship packets together, we send them directly to the high school counselors. And so you want to make sure to not overlook those individuals. And if you already know the college that you're going to go to, call the financial aid office there to talk to them about scholarships that they may know about at the college level already. Okay. The next thing that you don't want to do is don't ignore the internet. Turn your computer on, get on some scholarship searches, and find where those things are. If you go to financialaid.com, there are some scholarships that you can also search for there. Okay. All right. Next, don't ignore small awards. When there are scholarships worth tens of thousands of dollars, you might think you shouldn't bother with the small potato awards. That isn't true. So if a scholarship, even if a scholarship is for $500, and if you're eligible to apply for it, because guess what? Every dollar that your parent and you are not paying out of your pocket or having to get a loan for is worth it. So if sometimes scholarships are just for books or things of that nature, and I promise you, do not dismiss those small awards. Next, don't think that you have to be an academic or athletic superstar to win, because there are scholarships that are based on other things such as leadership and art and music and theater and cheerleading, public service, and more. Okay, so just read through them and see how you fit for those particular scholarship awards. Next, don't be a victim of a scholarship scam. Never pay for a scholarship search or to apply for a scholarship or for a listing of awards. Those are typically, if you have to pay money up front just to get the scholarship, then that's probably likely a scam. So don't get scammed. Don't use the shotgun approach. It can be tempting to just get an application and send the same essay to every scholarship or send the information to every scholarship. You should not do that, because inevitably one scholarship is going to ask for something specific, and you want to make sure that your application goes to the correct information for that particular scholarship. And so you don't want to just cookie cutter it and send the same thing to everyone. I promise you that will not work. Okay. Another don't is to don't forget to answer the questions in your essay. Again, don't just send an essay of why you want to go to college. That's not always the essay question. You want to answer the question, and you want to do a specific essay for that specific award question that was asked. Okay. Don't turn an application in that is incomplete. We already talked about this. If they want 2 letters that are signed, give them 2 character reference letters that are signed. If they want an official transcript, then an unofficial transcript will not do. So you want to make sure that you're following all of the instructions. And the final don't is to don't think that it's impossible for you to win. You need to be your biggest cheerleader, because every student who has ever won a scholarship has thought this. And guess what? They won, and you can too. Okay, so now let's go to specific things about the essay. Number 1, again, follow the directions. Be concise and be clear. Sometimes we find students jump around a lot in their essays. Usually you only have 300 to 500 words. And so you want to get to the point, and you want to get to the point of it quickly. So don't just have throwaway sentences in there. Make sure that your message is clear and concise. Next, make sure that the essay stands alone, but don't include every detail, right? Next, plan it out. How are you going to craft this essay? It should have a clear beginning, middle, and end. Remember that tedious outlines for essays in high school English class? Well, that's why you did those, so that you know how to have the beginning of a story, the meat of a story, and the end of the story. Okay? Next, don't rush. This is not something you want to just kind of haphazardly do the day before the deadline. Take your time. That essay you wrote this morning might not look as great 2 days from now. Take a stab at a first draft and then set it aside for a day or 2, and then come back to it, tweak it some more, and then get someone else to look over it. But do not rush and think, oh, just click, and I'm sending it. No, do that differently. Okay. The next part of this is have someone else read it. Get the teacher or your boss, if you have a job, or even a friend or a parent to read your essay and offer their feedback. Does the essay capture who you are, your journey? Does it make sense? Is it clear and concise? Have someone look at that for you. Next, sit down and read it out loud. If you read it out loud, it should tell a great story, right? And so you want to make sure that um, you read it out loud so that you know what it sounds like when someone else is reading it as well. Make sure you don't send off an essay that's sloppy or has grammar or punctuation errors. That's not the impression that you want to leave on the committee, okay? Next, make it yours. It should be clear that this is talking about you. It shouldn't be so vague that it could be anybody. It should be a clear and concise. What are your goals? What are you trying to convey about you through this essay? Okay. The next thing we want to talk about is your mindset. But before you go to the interview, this is pre-work before you go to an interview for a scholarship. First, you need to believe that you can win the scholarship. You have to have a belief in yourself. You have to have confidence. You want some positive self-talk. You want to present yourself in a way that it looks like you deserve to win, right? Because you are the best person for this award. That's what you should have on your mind. Like, oh, can I do it? No, throw away all that negative talk so that you can detox your language, what you're saying about yourself before you go. Okay, believing in yourself. Next, you want to make sure that those were the pre things that you want to do before the interview. So now here we're on the day of the interview process. So this is what you want to make sure that you do. Arrive 15 minutes before the appointment. Dress appropriately, neat and well groomed. Maintain eye contact. Greet each interviewer with a firm handshake. If it's online, look them each across the screen in the eye. Make sure that you're sitting up if you're on a Zoom for your interview. Listen carefully and intently to the questions. If you need them to repeat a question, ask them to repeat the question. Communicate effectively, articulate clearly. Make sure you have the appropriate posture, standing and or sitting. Make sure you have a knowledge, this is important, a knowledge of the organization that the scholarship that is being awarded. If you don't know things about the company, about the church, about the scholarship, who the scholarship is named for, those are clear red flags that you're not interested in representing that organization when you get to school. And that's why they would award you the scholarship, because ultimately you're representing that church or that business on that college campus. And so you want to make sure that you know something about the organization. Next, you want to interview the committee. Come prepared with 3 to 4 questions that you can ask them. And then smile and have fun. Have fun. Try not to be nervous. Here's some don'ts. Those were some do's. Here's some don'ts for the interview. Don't be late. Do not be late. And if you know you're going to be late, please call the committee contact person to let them know what has happened to cause you to be late. Don't just show up with that excuse. Call them before. If you know you're not going to make it, if you know you're not going to make it early, call them so that you can, if something happens and you do in fact run late, you've already called. Okay. Don't dress inappropriately. Don't have insufficient eye contact. Don't look down and have a weak handshake. Don't use a lot of slang language. You want to be use like me right now saying us, and don't do that. You want to be polished with your answers. Okay. Don't slouch. Don't frown, and don't be too serious. Again, try to loosen up and don't let your nerves get the better of you. Okay. Now, the application itself. You want to make sure that you read all the instructions and follow them to the letter. Our scholarship packet has a checklist at the beginning, and it has everything you should have turned in with your packet. There's some things that you have to email, and there's some things that you have to turn in into the actual envelope. And so you want to make sure you've gone through all of those things. Recognize that the committees look for a well-rounded applicant. So involvement in the community, your church or a school is very important. So you want to highlight those things in the application. Every item does not carry the same level of importance. Interviews and essays can be weighted heavier. We've had people at the church that have won a scholarship, even though they weren't the highest GPA, even though they weren't the highest ACT. Why? Because they killed that interview and they wrote that essay to perfection. And so those things can get you further and open up many doors. Make sure you have 2 to 3 professional references. And what I would suggest is going ahead and getting you 3 or 4 professional references signed and ready to go. You need to make you a scholarship packet where you have all of these things. You already have your your official transcripts already ready to go. You already have letters of recommendation already ready to go. Okay. You want to complete the entire application, and the parts that you do not complete, make sure that you write NA where appropriate, and then print clearly. Or if you're typing it online, then make sure that you are typing accurately. Okay. Here's some questions that you can ask the interviewer. These are some questions, that you may get from an interviewer. So these are just some common questions. Why did you apply for this scholarship? What do you know about the individual that the scholarship was named? What are your strengths? What do you need to improve upon? And when someone asks you what are your weaknesses, you want to not tell actual weaknesses. A weakness that might still be a strength is I'm too hard on myself. That presents as I'm conscientious as well. Okay. What is your planned major in college? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? So these are potential questions that you may get from an interviewer. So guess what you should be with these potential questions, prepared to answer them. Okay. And next, here's some sample things that you could ask the interviewer, because this would be showing interest in the people that you just spent some time with. What is your current profession and why did you choose it? What do you like the most and the least about your current job or business? What do you do for fun? What do you believe are key characteristics for success? And another great question is, what do you think what would be a great candidate for a scholarship to you? Hi, Elder Mobley. And so that's it. Those are all of the things. The final thing is any questions or comments. And so if anyone is on who has any questions or comments, please let me know, because we want to be able to get any questions. You can email the church, 689newlife@gmail.com, or you can go into the comments with any questions that you may have. But share this live with parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, nieces, to be able to get to these high school seniors that are applying. Our scholarship deadline is March 13th, I believe, but it's on the packet. And so if the deadline is the 13th, guess when you should have that scholarship in? The 1st, March 1st. And that way you got plenty of time in case something is missing or things of that nature. Okay. So praying for your much success with your scholarship applications that you have, not just ours, but any that you are applying for, and make sure that you do adhere to some of these things that we've talked about on today. And if there are no questions in the chat, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Elder Mobley, for being on today. And we look forward to seeing your applications. So also post this to organizations that have young people with them, like Jack and Jill and things of that nature. So share this live to help another parent. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless.